Name?
My name's Albert DeLuca.
And where do you live, Al?
I live at 3 Saratoga Street, Hoosick Falls.
Have you lived in Hoosick Falls long, or?
All my life. I was born here.
Okay, you were born here. Now, would you tell us a little about your life before you went into the service?
Well, I went to school at St. Mary's Academy, graduated out of St. Mary's, and
What year was that you graduated?
1950. And then I went to work in the Hoosick Falls Undergarment, and I left there and went to work at the specialty company. And from there I was drafted in 1952 in the Army. And from there we were inducted into Fort Devens, and I was shipped to Aberdeen, Maryland, and went into the ordnance, went to school there, and 1953, January of 1953, I got my orders to ship overseas, and ended up in Korea. We landed in Busan, and from there we went by train up through the peninsula and by truck, and I ended up in Seoul, Korea, and then we were shipped to Wonju, which is one of the main ammunition dumps for Korea, and I was there approximately 11 months.
What was your job in ordnance?
Well, I was ammunition supply specialist, and after that I was put into the permanent guard and became corporal of the guard until I was shipped back to the United States.
I see. All right. So you were in Seoul, and your job was to get the ammunition out to the
Right.
troops when they needed it.
Convoys would come in and the trucks would be loaded. We had Korean laborers that did all the work, and we supervised, and their job was to load the trucks, and the trucks would take the ammunition to the front.
All right. What can you tell us about the Korean War, that your experience with it?
Well, of course, the country was in shambles. Most of the cities had been leveled, I guess. The people were friendly that we knew. Very cold, very cold.
Yeah, I got that from other people.
And of course, the summers were hot and humid.
Did you find that there was I interviewed some, and they talked about infiltration of the enemy.
Yes.
So you didn't know where your enemy was.
You never knew. Like, all the compounds of the servicemen had high barbed wire fences, probably 10, 12 feet high, and of course always guarded because of infiltrators. And actually, anytime you were out, you always had to watch yourself, because you didn't know if they were infiltrators or not.
Yeah, I got that from other people. It was worse in the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
That kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so you stayed there. You worked in ordnance. And then did you travel around at all there? Did you see some of the?
No, I really didn't have time to
Yeah, I see
travel.
you were going every minute. And I know you brought some pictures, and they were pictures of Seoul and so
Yeah.
forth, and some of the troops. We'll try to get those pictures and scan them into the computer, so we'll have them. All right, so you spent 11 months there.
I spent 11 months. Well, it should have been 12 months, but my orders came through a month early, which I was happy about, and headed home.
All right, so then you came home, and tell
So
us a little.
when I came home, well,
you were discharged right away when you came home?
Yes. I think we were shipped into Kilmer, and we were discharged from there.
All right. Then what happened?
Well, then I come home, and I went back to work in the specialty where they made plastics, and got married, and a month after that we bought a house, and a month after that I got laid off, so I said, well, I got to do something. So I decided I'd go into barbering, and I've been a barber ever since.
I see. And how many children did you have?
We had 5 of our own children, and then we ended up adopting 3 more of my brother.
I see. So
He had died, and then his wife died 2 years later.
And so you really brought up 8 kids,
children.
which is wonderful. Yeah. And Is there anything else that you can tell us about Hoosick Falls or your life or anything that you'd like to put on
Well-
tape? This is a permanent tape in the museum here.
When I got to the point where I wanted to open up my own shop in Hoosick Falls, Hoosick Falls was a thriving community. I remember looking for a place to open up my shop, and the only place that I could find, because every place was filled, there was more buildings and hotels, and I found a small place on Elm Street. Odell's owned it, and I was in there for a year, and then I moved down the street and finally bought the building on the corner, which used to be the old Ideal Restaurant.
I see.
And I completely rehabilitated the building, and I'm there today.
I see. Okay, is there anything else you'd like to say to us, or?
Well, it was an experience. I guess you can't forget everything.
Yeah.
Of course, you do forget things. And I suppose I enjoyed it in some sort, but...
Yeah, well, it was part of it. It was an
Yeah.
experience. It was
an
part of
experience,
life.
yes.
You know. Well, we thank you very much for your time, and we thank you for your interview.